to use Adobe Firefly with Adobe Photoshop. In the previous video session, I've shown you the basic settings. And in this video session, I'll show you basics of using the image generated with AI with Photoshop. Let's press on the image. Let's download it to our local computer. And now we can open in Photoshop. Now, I will assume that you know the basics of Photoshop. If not, we've got the layers panel. So we can do all sorts of stuff. We can add text. We can, create different layers and say, okay, you know what? I just want to grab the mountains. Using the quick selection tool, I can say, all right, let's grab the mountains only. I can now do destructive editing and cut, because I've selected a different layer, and cut that and paste it in there. And now I've got a different layer, right? So now I can say, all right, you know what? I wanted two mountains. Right? As you can see, just playing around with the image and your tools here, and then perhaps even grab a different image. Let's say you want to put a monkey in this example on your image. Because you're using Photoshop, you can use quick selection tool. And if you want to master Photoshop, understand this: you are as good as your selections. Okay, let's press Alt and minus this selection. Here, obviously, let's actually cut that and paste. But here, let's Control Z, Control Alt, shortcuts Z. Let's go back. Here, let's grab that as well. I just want to show you this. So we've selected this image here. Let's go back and grab that. Now let's go to paths. We can actually create a path from our selection. From then on, we can select direct selection tool and select what we want much more precisely. Okay, so, and then here with this path, if you actually do use Illustrator, you can export the path to Illustrator as well. Because with Adobe products, if you're using them, let's say Illustrator or different ones, you can make them all work together. Now in this example, we've got the layers. We've just put some basic editing. Let's do something like this. Then I can save for the web and devices. That's too big of an image, because Adobe Firefly generates large images. If you want to upload that to online, perhaps leave high resolution is okay, but if you want to put that on your website, you want to perhaps go with 900 pixels. Save for web. Let's save as PNG. It doesn't really matter if it's JPEG or PNG. Now we've got two mountains instead of one. We've cut some image from a different image, placed it onto a new layer, and so on. So Adobe Photoshop has your tools here and your layers here. You can generate many layers and place anything that you want, including text. Let's say Monkey King. I was the king of the mountain. King of the mountain. Before I close up, I'm actually gonna show you something else. Let's change the text color, make it a bit more bright. So that's our text. Let's put that there. We got shapes here, custom shape tools as well. We can say, all right, how about banners and awards? Let's grab that and paste, as in create a shape. Or we can do something like this perhaps. Grab an empty layer and create a square image. And here, what happened? We've added gradient layer. So now let's just say, you know what? That looks okay. Or I can actually adjust it according to what you want. Okay, let's leave that. Gradient type, solid. Let's select noise. That's what happens when we do. You've got your presets here. You can customize it. You can change the color or even location. When you're not happy with it, you can delete the color. You can add different ones and delete them and so on. Okay. So that's a FX layer we've just added here. So, yeah. In this scenario, let's do something like this. Let's say multiply that. And let's say 20%. That didn't look good. Let's say 55%. That didn't look good either. Let's fill opacity that much. Let's fill it this much. Could not use the move tool because no layers are selected. That's correct. Now we can say, all right, give it a. So we can do many things. It's just a matter of playing around. That example didn't look good, right? So then I can delete it. So when you're using Adobe Firefly and you want to use Photoshop, whether you have Photoshop installed, whether you're using some Adobe Cloud Photoshop and so on, that's how you use it. It's just a matter of downloading it and experimenting with Photoshop. If you've never used Photoshop before, don't be overwhelmed with all these tools. You've got your layers and your tools and all these other things you will learn as you practice. I thank you for learning with Rankia, and I'll talk with you in the next video session.